Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Real Estate Power Hour with your host, Lance Trizona. I always wanted to have my own talk show, and now I do. Look at me now, Ma. Look at me now. Anyways, I wanted to come on here and introduce myself to you all real quick. I mean, this is my first live stream. Pretty excited about getting this done. My initial idea was just to come on here and answer anybody's questions in regards to real estate. So I was thinking about that this week, and I was like, because I made this contract with myself on Friday when I decided to put this out and stuff, and I was just like, I'm gonna spend 45 minutes just by myself waiting for somebody to answer a question. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, why not make this my own TV talk show? So let's get started. So welcome again to the Real Estate Power Hour. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat. And feel free to put your questions in. I'd love to answer them a little bit later if there is anybody on here that has any questions. And if you're watching the replay, please leave a comment. I'll definitely get back to you. I love reading the comments, and I will definitely message you back, hopefully the next day. And if not, it will be probably the day after. So first off, let me introduce myself. Like I said, my name is Lance Trezona, and this is the Real Estate Power Hour. You might be asking yourself, why are you hosting this live show? That's a good question. I'm hosting this live show because I want to be of service to others. I want to be able to answer their questions, whether they're, simple real estate questions or really difficult real estate questions. I never put myself to be, or I never said I was the smartest man in the room. In fact, I never want to be the smartest man in the room. I am always constantly pushing myself to learn, always educating myself, doing, taking on classes and educational courses that aren't the traditional real estate educational courses. I'm trying to think outside the box to be a better service to others. And so that is why I'm hosting this show. And I'm hoping that it becomes really interactive. I'm hoping that people get some real quality and value out of it, value out of it. Sorry. So that's my goal. So let me say this. Why did I decide to get into real estate? And that might be a little bit better of a circle back to why this show is so important to me. So I got into real estate because I was tired. Well, actually, no. The truth is I got into real estate because I wanted to get back at the government. I've been paying taxes like a mofo. Every year, I owe. And just 1 year, I would like to stick it to the government instead of the government always sticking it to me. And so that's why I really took a deep dive into real estate. Now, rewind a little bit and go back. I've been buying real estate since 1998. Started picking up single family homes in Long Beach, California. And I spent my whole life in Southern California. Long Beach, spent many years there. Marietta, Temecula area, spent many years there. And now I'm in San Diego, California. Why I got into real estate was because I really felt like there was nobody out there. The real estate agents that I worked with, let me rephrase that. The real estate agents that I worked with didn't really help me out. They didn't educate me. They didn't teach me anything. All they basically did was either put me on an MLS campaign email drip. You know the ones. If you've ever worked with a real estate agent, you get them all the time in your email box daily, giving you updates and changes to listed properties and so forth. And that was the extent of it. Like probably everyone else out there, I thought to myself, hell, real estate's gotta be easy, right? I mean, these guys hardly work and they're making some huge ass commission checks, you know? So it was the lack of like real help that I got from real estate agents that really wanted, or that really pushed me to get my. I bought and sold, and if I would have known what I know now then, I would have held a lot of my properties and did things differently. I've gone through owning a brick and mortar business. I've gone through bankruptcy. I've gone through a short sale. I've gone through it all. And all those life experiences have taught me valuable lessons that I want to help others sort of miss, if that makes any sense. I want to prevent others from going down that same path that I went through. So that is one of the most important things about this show. I want to help others, and that is my main goal. if you can get any value out of what I am saying on this show, or questions that I've answered, or maybe it's made you think a little bit differently than you did before about real estate, dude, I'm a happy camper. That's all I want. I want to be able to help people think outside the box when it comes to real estate. Um, what do I get out of hosting this show every Monday, right? If you guys are getting value, what do I get? I get a sense of purpose. It helping people, I don't know, it makes me feel good. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not helping everybody in every aspect of their life, but I'm passionate about real estate. And when I help somebody and I can see them thinking about things in a different way and thinking about something maybe they didn't think about before, dude, that excites me. That gets me pumped up. It makes me feel like, hell yeah, dude, you did something good for somebody today. You know, you helped somebody. And it can be addicting. And once you get a taste of that feeling, you want it more and more and more. And that's why I decided to do this show like 2 weeks ago, because I was able to help somebody out. He found me on the internet. His name was Al. Al, if you're watching, shout out to you, Al. You truly inspired me to go down a path that I knew I wanted to go down, but I lost focus. And I'll get to that in a little bit. But like I said, my goals for this hour are just to sort of touch, like this one is just to sort of introduce myself, give you a little bit more background about me. And then the show's continuing on. I hope to have subjects like that I'll really talk about and deep dive into a little bit. Maybe we'll talk about like how you can get into real estate with no money, like wholesaling, or, you know, other avenues of subsidizing your rent. Maybe how you don't need a real estate agent to sell your house, and how there's other different ways about doing that. Maybe you haven't thought about a creative finance strategy either, and we'll touch on that in one of the shows as well. But for strictly this show, I just want to really give you a little bit more background information on me. And I understand that this is a little all over the place right now. It's because this is my first one. Trying to really find my way. I'm not a Johnny Carson yet, but hoping to get there soon. And so with that said, let me just take you down a little bit of what my journey has been thus far in real estate and how I got started into it. Okay. Like I said, I've been buying houses since 98, but that's not really when I started getting into real estate investing and learning the power of real estate. It was funny. I was surfing at San Onofre State Beach back in 2019, and I met this gentleman. It's so weird, man. The universe places people in your lives at the right moment, at the right time, right? And it was funny. I was surfing with my two boys, and we were out of the water, and this guy had a beautiful, like 1967 Volkswagen 21 window bus. It was beautiful, immaculate. It was just cherry, and that's one of my dream vehicles. If you guys ever come across one that's for sale, let me know. But yeah, so we started talking, and he was talking to my two kids, talking about finance, retirement, all this other stuff. And, you know, so it sort of piqued my interest. And he was like, yeah, man, I retired like 3 years ago. And I'm like, dude, this guy looks hella young. I'm like, how old were you when you retired? And he's like, oh man, I was like 40. I was 40 when I retired. I'm like, holy crap, how did you do that? And he tells me about this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Maybe many of you have read it. Maybe some of you have never heard of it, but I definitely recommend reading that book. It definitely changed my life. So he tells me about this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he's telling me about how he just read it, and he basically followed every single step in that book, and it pretty much put him on a path to retirement. And lo and behold, he retired after, I think, like it was like 10 years or something. And so he was saying, dude, you should pick up some copies for your kids. And I was like, hell yeah, that sounds like a great idea, right? So I went home that night. I popped up on the Amazon and I ordered two of the books, and one for each of them. And what do you know? The kids got them. They excitedly unwrapped them, looked at them, set it on their headboards, and there they sat collecting dust for the next year. And so it wasn't until COVID came around that I actually picked the book up and I started reading it. I was, we couldn't do anything, so I'd be going to the beach, sitting in the back of the truck, surfing and reading this book. And I devoured that book in 2 days. I'm not really a big reader, so if you're not a big reader, like when I tell you I devoured this book in 2 days, it was that much just important information I felt that it was present or giving to me at that moment in my life. And when I started reading it, things started awakening in me, and ideas started coming, and seeing a life that I never thought was possible happened like that. And from the moment I finished that last cover, I started deep diving into nothing but real estate education, trying to educate myself as much as I could on how real estate can create generational wealth for me and my family and financial freedom for myself. So I mean, because really, I don't come from a rich family, and I'm not too sure some of you watching me right now might be coming from rich families. I don't know, but I don't. And so what I think about is, I always thought about, why didn't my grandparents or my great grandparents, start building something that would prolong their family, and create some generational wealth? Well, they didn't. And so it falls on me to stop it right here and start creating generational wealth for my family. So maybe down the road, my great grandkids would be like, "Oh, granddaddy Lance, he sure in the hell hooked us up." But so anyway, so that's where I was heading with that, real estate. And so anyway, I ended up going on to Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets is a nice real estate resource. They've got great forums. A lot of people are on there. It's a great community. Great to start your real estate education at, and just learning and just connecting with other people that are interested in the same passion that you are is unbelievable. And it's so funny because when you surround yourself with those kind of people, you know what? There we go. Sorry about that. When you surround yourself with those type of people, it elevates the way you think and it elevates your game. Like, it was amazing just in the 3 months that I joined Bigger Pockets, just reaching out on the forums, taking a deep dive into some of the topics, whether it was long-term rentals or, looking at short-term rentals as another strategy for real estate investing, fix and flips, wholesaling, wholetailing, all these other avenues. And then when you start exploring it, you realize you need to figure out what your game plan is. Like, why are you even investing? Like, for me personally, my goal with real estate investing is just so I can be able to supplement my income and buy a property in Mexico and retire. And whatever I accumulate during that process to get me there, that will be left to my kids. And it's up to them to sort of take the next step and further along that journey, right? So, but it's simple. Like, I want to live a simple life. I just want to retire in Mexico and have some money to be able to enjoy the margaritas and paddleboard, and enjoy more of our margaritas and enjoy more paddleboarding. So when I looked at that, long-term rentals make sense. Especially if they cash flow and you can appreciate, so getting into that was really good. And then the next step was getting tickets to the Bigger Pockets conference, because I never really understood the power of networking in big events like that until I actually went. And I've met some of the best people that I still stay in contact with now. And it was amazing, the relationships you create. and just bouncing ideas off each other, talking to them, because a lot of the people that I met in that real estate conference already had like 5 years, into it. I've got a friend on Instagram called Berminator, and he has already been buying like long-term buy and holds in Kansas. He has a couple in Los Angeles, got some in Colorado where he's living currently. But like, he's a relationship that I created that I go back to all the time. I got another buddy of mine that lives in North Carolina, Patrick Menifee. He's now a coach. But dude, I would be able just to call him up anytime I wanted to and ask him questions about fix and flipping and stuff like that, because he owned his own company. And it was something that I was really interested in and I've never done before, right? At that moment in time. So I'm asking people that, that I feel could be beneficial to me for help. It's funny. I got a little distracted. I'm looking at the comment. Um, but it's funny because, I'm not one to ask for help. And that was a quick change in my life after that, because I realized that you're not going to be able to make anything happen by yourself, that you're going to need to be able to reach out to people, and you're going to need to swallow that I can do it all on my own kind of pride. So that way you can go further and further than you ever thought was possible. And the only way you're going to do that is partnering up and getting people to help you out. Okay. So after that, I ended up jumping into wholesaling. And this is sort of where I got off my track, because I was like, oh hell, I need to make capital. What's the quickest way to make capital? Wholesaling is a good way to get into real estate with little or no money and try to build up your capital so you can get to the fix and flips and you can get to all that other stuff, utilizing, money that you've made by assigning contracts to buyers. So I did that. But let me tell you something. Real estate is a hard game, man. Real estate is a hard game. Hard game. Cold calling, direct mailing, reaching out to people that you don't know, asking them if they're willing to sell their house and all this other stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Door knocking, driving for dollars, like all of it is time consuming, and you've got to sort of make the most of it and be consistent and spend some money, right? Spend a little capital, do direct mails or direct to mail mailers, and SMS text blasting and pooling lists and skip tracing numbers and all that stuff. And what I came to find out was that I like talking to people. I really do. But I don't like cold calling people. I don't like reaching out and asking somebody, "Hey, is your house for sale? You ever thought about selling your house?" Uh, and going through that rigmarole. It's a little taxing, because uh, you get shot down a hell of a lot. People aren't serious. You're looking for serious leads, and it really is a numbers game. It really is a numbers game. And so you're calling maybe 1,000 leads for one deal, and you're hoping that another wholesaler doesn't have the same list that you do, but I guarantee you they do. And it's just who gets to that lead first, who's the one that's making the good relationship with them, building rapport, and hopefully luck's on your side as well. So I went through that for about a good, I'd say, 5 months before I joined up with a community called Sub 2. And when I joined up with a community called Sub 2, it was amazing. It was eye opening. It's all about different ways of purchasing and disposing, properties using creative finance. And there, that community that Pace Morby created is beyond anything I could imagine, because they have so many people in there that you can bounce ideas off of, people that are doing all sorts of different crazy out of your mind kind of things with real estate, and big projects, little projects. A lot of people are starting off, and but it's just a community that you can go to and for help, for education, for bouncing ideas off one another as well. So it's brought me back full circle to why I started in real estate in the first place, because through all of that, I lost focus of what I really wanted to do. and why I got into real estate in the first place was to help people, because nobody helped me out in the beginning. Nobody taught me these things on how real estate could really build generational wealth and financial freedom for you. And so I only looked at real estate in a traditional way where, oh man, I got to go get a real estate agent and list this on the MLS. Or, oh man, I need to go get a real estate agent so I can buy a house. Now I'm like, dude, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? Um, so uh, that is sort of my journey in a nutshell, and stuff like that. So let me look at my list of topics that I want to talk about. Oh yeah. So what have I done thus far since I've started my real estate journey? That's a good question. People are going to want to know what I've done. So basically what I've done is I've picked up this duplex that I'm currently house hacking. And for those of you that are watching this live or on the replay, what is house hacking? If you don't know, house hacking is where I live in one unit and then I rent the other unit out. So I am living in the smaller unit. I have my 3-bedroom, 2-bath rented out, and they are paying most of my mortgage, and I am paying a pretty good, decent amount of rent, but not as much as other people are, to live in this beautiful city of San Diego. I picked that up in 2021, and it was probably the most expensive purchase I ever did in my entire life. It was the first time I ever encountered a panic attack signing that dotted line, and yeah, it was the best thing I've ever done, and it just propelled me even more to go after it even harder and do more things, right? And so with that, I wanted to learn as much as I could. I've made mistakes, like I had to spend $10,000 on plumbing. I'll make some Instagram post and Facebook post on that. But I came to find out, when a house is built in 1925, home inspectors don't really go down or take a deep dive in some of the other aspects. So you might want to spend a little bit money on having an actual plumbing company come out and take a look, because in 1925 this house had cast iron pipes, and I came to find out after a few months of living here that the cast iron pipes had some cracks, and some bacteria was seeping up from the pipe, and it was changing my dirt, and things were getting backed up. And $10,000 later, boom, I have whole new piping. So, I mean, that's a mistake and a lesson that I learned a lot of, uh, or a lot of valuable lessons from in that whole thing. Um, Also, like, I got a property management company to just for my 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to know what having a property management company was like. A lot of the things that you read online is, oh yeah, property management company will take 8 to 10%. That's true. But also there's listing fees, there's utility bills fees, there's what else is there? There is fees for uh, calling out a handyman that you have given them the access to. There's the 8 to 10% they take out a month for their management fees, and sometimes they don't do anything. But I needed to be able to go through all of that so I understood all the ins and outs of a property management company, because how am I going to help anybody out if I'm not going through all the same things that other people will be going through that want to start on this journey? How am I going to be able to help people and educate them if I'm not able to take them down that path by actually doing? So those are a couple things that I've done here so far. What else have I done, you said? So I told you I wholesaled. So I've actually locked up properties too high and had to cancel out on contracts because I was just learning some of the market area. Learning markets, it takes a little bit of time. You have to deep dive into the market, understand what real estate is going to appraise for, what the rehab value is going to be. You have to understand cost. You have to understand a lot of things. And if you guys are ever talking to wholesalers, like I don't know, I want to pull up. I'll do a whole episode on wholesaling. But dude, when you get a wholesaler's email, Usually what you'll see is, hey, this is the ARV price, this is the purchase price, and this is the assignment fee that they're assigning for, right? But what they don't ever break down for you, and where you guys have to actually do your own due diligence, is when you purchase this to get it to the ARV, what are your holding costs going to be? What are your fees going to be? What's your private money lending fees going to be? How long are you going to have to pay that? Like, do you have a good contractor that is going to go ahead and do the work for you in a timely manner? Are they going to take 3 or 4 months? Are they going to take 9 months? Are you going to go over budget? How are you going to prepare for all of that stuff? So those were things that I had to learn. I had to go through. And like I said, hopefully I didn't ruin the relationship with those agents that I found the properties on the market with. But you know what? At that moment in time, it was a learning lesson for me. I was just going through the motions, and I was trying to, you know, be the be the best real estate uh investor, consultant, advisor that I can be for, what I want to do. Currently, I am doing a fix and flip with my partner in San Antonio, Texas. We bought the property this January using a hard money loan. So, I'm using hard money a lender for this build, and going through that process. Got an out of state rock star team, uh, real estate agent, contractors, all of that stuff. Title escrow company. Ended up getting some boots on the ground, and I'll deep dive into that as well. Taking a trip out there in May to take a look at the project, and I'll go ahead and put some social media stuff on there as well, so you guys can follow along as well. So I have done quite a few things, as well as buying single family residence since like 1998. So I'm not unfamiliar with real estate. I'm just learning different ways to help people out. And so I look forward to, doing these live shows and seeing if I can help any of you guys out by answering any of your questions, or, your curiosities, whether it's with real estate investing or just buying real estate in general, or what you should do. Maybe you need some advice. Maybe you're like, "Hey, Lance, I bought this house back in 2002, and now with the market, how much it appreciated, I'm sitting on all this equity and I don't know what to do with it." You know, there's a thing called good debt versus bad debt. And I wrote an article on my LinkedIn uh, profile, and explaining what good debt versus bad debt is. But, back in the day, nobody taught me there was a thing called good debt. I was always under the impression that debt was bad. You never wanted to be in debt, whether that was a mortgage, or, a car payment, or, a car loan, or, anything. I just thought all debt was bad, but that's not the case. So it's it's my it's my mission, I guess you could say, because I'm putting it on myself, to help educate as many people as I possibly can, and to help as many people as I possibly can look at real estate different. Um, with that said, I co-host a meetup every third Sunday of the month at Duck Foot Brewing Company called Ales and Assets. My co-host Mel and I, we sort of started it off to meet more investors and get and bring value to people who come out wanting to learn about investing, whether that's any of the previous exit strategies or strategies I mentioned before. And in June, we're going to open that up to anybody that has any real estate questions to come on down and ask whatever they want. There's no obligation. There's no high sales pressure tactics. There's nothing. We meet at Duck Foot Brewing Company. Come out, grab yourself a beer, ask your questions, enjoy the Sunday afternoon if you want. But yeah, it's just there in June for anybody that wants to come out and ask anything. I, for one, have always gotten nervous approaching a so-called professional, and I'm not too sure why, but I have. And I'm always like more at ease when it's just a casual thing where I don't have to have a phone appointment with somebody, or I don't have to go to somebody's office and sit down. Like, it's easier for me to go to a brewery, grab a beer, ask my question, and say, "Hey, thanks a lot," and then walk off. So, I mean, feel free. I mean, if that's what you want to do, feel free to do that. And I'd be more than happy to answer questions. I know Mel would too, or anybody that's there would be happy to answer questions. There's a lot of smart people doing a lot of big things that show up to that meetup, and it was probably one of the best things that I could ever done was start a meetup. And so, anyways, but also, I wanted to talk about this real quick. I call myself a real estate consultant or a real estate advisor, and not a real estate agent. And even though I am a licensed California state real estate sorry about that, a California licensed real estate agent, I don't like the term agent because everything that I've ever related to agent has gotten a bad connotation for me. And I think I said that right. I might have stumbled over it. But anyways, it's just left a bad taste in my mouth. And the reason why I said it before is because in my mind, an agent, and I'm not putting all agents in there. There's probably 5% that are really good, but for the most part, there's a lot of shite ones out there. They don't answer their phone. They don't do it really any work for you. They think real estate is just throwing something, like I said, throwing something on the MLS and just putting it out there to other agents that are looking for a house for their buyers or something like that. But I haven't really met a lot of agents that do the hard work. I probably have I probably know of in my circle, I probably know of really good 5 agents. 5 agents that I would recommend. And you're like, "Lance, but you have your real estate license. Why would you recommend another agent to me?" I'll tell you why. Because it's important that you vibe with your real estate professional. And those 5 I'm gonna call them a real estate consultant, real estate professional. They do more than just what agents do. Um, but it's important for me that you vibe with them. And you know what? I might not vibe with you and you might not vibe with me, but I would rather you get some help from somebody else that I know that you might vibe with. You know what I mean? Because in the long run, that would be me still helping you. And that is my number one goal, is just to help you. Um, and for me, the reason why I call myself a real estate consultant or a real estate advisor is because I actually have owned property. A lot of agents, when you talk to them, don't own property. That should be your first question when you try to find a real estate professional. Do you own anything? Have you ever owned anything? What do you own? Like, if they don't own anything, why would you use them? I'm just curious. Why would you use them? And then also a real estate consultant or a real estate advisor or professional, they also will be doing investments themselves because they realize the power of real estate, and they'll be doing, you know, finding off market properties or making contacts with wholesalers or other investors that might have, a portfolio, and they're looking at, trying to, liquidate some of their holdings, and stuff like that. So uh they actually do the work, and they actually will, maybe knock on doors to try to find you a house or try to find an off market deal with you so you don't have to compete with other offers. San Diego is still a hot market, you know, and so that's the difference. They're going to advise you maybe on how you can subsidize rent. Like, for instance, if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, Lance, I have money, but I can't afford a $950,000 home, but I want to live in San Diego." Well, maybe if you have something saved up, you take that out of state and invest in a property in another out of state market and use that cash flow to subsidize some of your rent here in San Diego. I mean, there's other ways of doing things. And if by doing that, you still get the tax benefits of owning a home, you still get all the stuff that you would if you owned a home, but you didn't pick up a $950,000 home. I mean, let's face it, nowadays, not everybody can afford to live in a place like San Diego where the median home price is $950,000. I mean, so those are different things that you might want to, ask your real estate professional, like, how can I do this? Um, and have them spitball some ideas out at you and stuff like that. For sellers, like, my God, if you own multiple properties, why would you sell one? Why? Like, if you're 80 years old and you're on your deathbed or something, okay, I get it. But if you're not, why would you try to just sell one outright and have to pay capital gains tax or something like that? Why wouldn't you want to try to do like a wrap or a lease option or something else that will benefit you, put money in your pocket, and all of a sudden you go from just being a landlord to now being a bank. So I don't know, there's a lot of different things out there, and the more I learn about all of this stuff, and the more I'm active in this, I get so much more upset that just anybody can go out there and call themselves a real estate professional but not have a clue of how to help anybody else out. Anyways, okay, I'm off my soapbox on that. But yeah, I've been live now for 36 seconds. Boom, boom. I didn't know how this was gonna go. To be quite honest, this was my first one. I want to thank the people that were on here. I don't see any questions. I just want to say Infinite Housing Solutions, what's up? Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate the support. I want to give a shout out to my partner Zarisa De Sanchez. She gave me a couple clappies. Love that. I made here's the thing. I have a coach, Creighton Bertrand, and this guy, he stressed the importance of self-contract, right? I thought I wanted to do something else, and he was like, bro, if the idea just sounds good, then break the contract with yourself. It's okay. You can break the contract with yourself if you thought the idea sounded good at a time. But if it's because you're afraid, then get over the fear and do it. And so when he told me that, I hadn't made a contract with myself because I thought the idea was good. And it wasn't until I met Big Al from who found me on my meetup account that really put the fire back into me, because I was able to do something that I actually loved. And I sat there after that meeting with him and I was like, dude, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. This is what is the most fun for me. And I quickly decided on how I could try to start doing this, how I could be different, how I could make myself known to more people and get myself out there in front of others in a way that not everybody is doing it. So I'm working on that right now. I'm coming up with ideas. I'm coming up with different strategies. I'm be tossing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks, pretty much, But when he told me about that, I quickly hopped on last Friday and on social media, and I just said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a Monday show every Monday. And I don't know how long I'm going to commit it for, but I'm going to make a long commitment to doing this, probably 4 months, every Monday for 4 months, just to stick with it. And I want to be able to come on here and answer as many questions as I can. So today, I think I don't know how many people I had pop up on this thing. Maybe I'll be able to look at the stats, because this is the first time I'm ever doing anything like this. So it's really exciting. I'd love to keep on doing this for you guys and for myself, because I think this is a really good outlet for me. But anyways, yeah. So I made this contract and I'm sticking with it. I wanted to hop on here even though I didn't know. I was a little nervous, and I was telling my coach, I'm going, even if nobody shows up to this first one, I will still be on it next Monday. And if nobody shows up on that one next Monday, I'll be on it the next Monday after that. I just eventually somebody will come on and they're going to have a question, or they're going to want to call in and actually talk through something. and I can give my number out on this thing. So you guys can feel free to actually have a conversation if I can't understand your question that you ask in the comment thing. But I'm stoked on this, guys. I'm stoked on this. I appreciate everybody who gave me support, who came on here. I look forward to doing it next Monday. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll have something. I'll have something. All right. I just want to say thank you. Good night. And I'll see you on Monday. Bye bye. Okay.